Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Gio Garcia here, alongside Christian Mosqueda. Man, quick fight reaction, Chris. I mean, not much to discuss, I guess. Um, Canelo against Yildirim. Show the damn highlights. There you go. Entrance was longer than the actual fight.
Yeah.
After 3 rounds, Canelo stops Avni Yildirim. As you guys are listening to some of the action there by the commentary, the great commentary by the Zone, of course, as always, quality, top notch. The Latin Snake. Shout out to you guys there in the live chat, man. Checking in.
Yeah, man, it was like you said, it was short fight.
Hey, man, don't cut off the Latin Snake.
Normally he starts off real aggressively. He's dropped fighters before really early. Not sure he's landed a punch yet. Right on the belt line goes Canelo, and again with the right hand. Waiting for Yildirim to engage.
Well, anyway, I'll leave some of the commentary there in the background. But yeah, Canelo stops Yildirim. 3 rounds. We expected it to go a little longer. Ultimately, I think they did it was the right call by Joel Diaz to call it off. Not much from Yildirim.
Yeah, no, I was slightly disappointed, in Yildirim. When you see, I mean, like we said, anybody that gets in the ring with Canelo, it's gonna be a tough task. But man, I think Canelo got touched once, and that was it. And there was nothing really for Yildirim to show. I've always said this: like, if you're gonna lose to a Canelo, try to lose in a fashion where people want to, at least see who you're gonna fight next. And Yildirim left very, very little resistance. His timing was off, not fast enough, not skilled enough. So I'm disappointed in that. He touched on at the entrance. I know Derek is on that chat saying that the entrance was fire. I don't think it was that great, to be honest. I was a little bit disappointed with the J Balvin performance, to be honest, and I am a fan. But Canelo was just too damn good, too skilled. He saw it almost felt like he was, hitting a heavy back there. There was nothing coming back, and it was a easy night for Cinnamon.
Yeah, so the fight was at the Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida. 15,000 fans in attendance. It's kind of weird now watching fights with fans actually in the crowd, in the stands. I was watching some of the Joseph Parker against Fa fight. There was fans in attendance as well, and it was kind of different. It seemed different, man. I've gotten so used to there not being fans, but yeah, the fans got up for this one. Obviously, we're all hoping for a better fight by Yildirim, but I mean, Canelo just dominant. He shows why he's the #1 boxer in the world. He made a guy who arguably beat Darrell and probably should have become the WBC super middleweight champion at that time. He made him look like it was his first professional fight. Made him look bad. Yildirim was just very gun shy. Didn't throw too many punches. And of course, people will not be looking forward to probably watching him again, and they're gonna say the typical insults, right? The bum, the cab driver, the knowledgeable boxing fans. But yeah, man, great performance by Canelo, great performance by J Balvin, Eddie Hearn really putting these shows together for Canelo, and yeah, man. Pretty good show overall, I would say. We were all here for the knockout. It happened in 2 rounds. I mean, I don't got much else to say about this fight, honestly.
Yeah, no, to me it was like if we separate Canelo did his thing, man. You saw like the speed, the technique, the punches, the uppercuts. He was doing what he wanted to do in there, and then, it was a showcase of his skills. So I enjoyed that. Someone that likes watching boxing skills, and I said on the last podcast, this is a Mexican style 2.0. Like, it was just beautiful to see that, and yeah, sad that obviously who doesn't want to see more rounds? We always want to see more rounds, but Yildirim clearly outclassed. Joel Diaz told him, "I'm gonna give you one more round, and you gotta show me something." But I think, yeah, like you say, he did the right thing calling it off because Yildirim was just gonna take too much damage, unnecessary damage. I know he is a number one mandatory, but he had no business being in there with that pound for pound in Canelo. And so, easy night, easy check, easy money. There's not a lot of really competition out there for Canelo. I know there's some names out there
Yeah,
like
let's go to some of the live comments here, Chris. Somebody's saying Canelo versus Benavides para qué tanto pedo. Yeah, I don't think Benavides is ready yet. I think he needs a couple more fights. He hasn't really fought top competition, other than Darrell. Well, I mean, Yildirim fought Darrell too, probably beat him. But other than that, I think Benavides needs a couple more fights. He needs to beat Plant first. Hopefully,
yeah.
well, obviously they're saying Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders, which I still don't believe because Billy Joe is notorious for pulling out of fights. So I don't think he really wants to fight. But I think Eddie Hearn's going to force him to get in there. Let's see if he goes through with it. But I hope Benavides fights Plant, which I don't see it happening. And obviously I see him taking Plant's title and then ultimately a showdown for all the belts with Canelo. But I don't think Benavides' defense is good enough to compete or to win 7 rounds against Canelo or 8. But yeah, it's just looking tough out there for the competition right now. If your last name is not Alvarez, yeah, Canelo's really hurting these bigger guys and not much competition, man. Even a contender like Yildirim didn't even bother Canelo. Like you said, probably touched him up one time, probably landed one good punch, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, but we all know that Canelo has one of the best chins in the business. You're gonna have to touch him way more than just once, man. You didn't even mess up his makeup or nothing, I've always thought like Canelo.
Hey, let me stop you right there, man. Someone said Charlo. Come on, we're having serious boxing talk here.
Yeah.
Don't bring up those type of fighters. I mean, they don't belong in the same sentence.
See the Charlos, the Benavides, they want to go straight to Canelo. Like, of course, who doesn't want to get that cash money, that get that sweepstakes and get that fight? But reality is, like, for it to be competitive, like for it to for us to even get excited about it, they have to fight each other. They need to go through those experiences.
They need to get better. Yeah,
they need to get better, and you only get better by fighting somebody in and around your level, to climb that ladder. And these guys just want to go straight to Canelo. And I think a lot of them believe that I really think they're not gonna, they know they can't beat him, but they just want that paycheck, and of course I'll learn something in defeat, blah, blah, blah. But they need to make it competitive, and to get competitive, they have to fight each other. The Benavides, the Plants, the Charlo, like they have to mix it up with each other to get those rounds. And right now, like I said, the only competition for Canelo is if there's a clone of a Canelo, someone just like him that can push him mentally, skill wise, and there's nobody else right now. I think Billy Joe Saunders, makes it. I know that you're not, convinced by him. That fight, like you said, it's on the box rec. It's supposedly set in stone, but anything can happen outside the ring. We know that Billy Joe is notorious for getting into trouble outside the ring, so we won't believe that the fight is on maybe until like a week out from that fight day. But yeah, all these guys have to fight each other and get their game up because Canelo's game is on a different level right now.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are in their 30s and still waiting for that Canelo jackpot, right? They should fight each other and hopefully get that Canelo fight in a couple fights, and that way they'll be better prepared. But as of now, I mean, unless he's fighting these men who are 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds, I don't see anybody beating Canelo. That's just the reality. I think I said this when he first signed the zone contract. A lot of people were going to complain about these fights because I just didn't see anybody on the horizon that could challenge Canelo after Triple G. Even guys like Jacobs, C+ level fighters, they're just not on that level, But even a guy like Callum Smith, who was the number 1 rated guy at 168, is not on that level. So, I mean, we're going to see a lot of fights like these. I see Billy Joe Saunders getting knocked out. Probably not in 2-3 rounds, but, he's a little trickier. He's a little more slick, but he still gets hurt every single fight. So I don't see that fight going too long against Canelo, and obviously Plant. His best
Yeah.
win is maybe Uzcategui, but other than that, no real tough competition on his resume. And the thing is that these guys have been fighting Yildirim level fighters their whole careers. You know,
Yeah.
so there's levels to this, and you see what happens when an A level fighter gets in there with a C level fighter or a D level fighter. You know, Canelo
Yeah.
made easy work of this.
Yeah. I think you're being too rough with Jacobs, bro. C plus. I won't say C plus. I say B. B minus. B minus.
How?
B minus.
How?
There, Yildirim, that's C plus. That's
His
a C plus
best
fighter
win
right
was
there.
against Kid Chocolate.
Yeah. I understand. I say B minus. I think you're being a little too rough on Jacobs.
No, I
He did get in
think
there
I think you watch too much TV, Chris.
That was a close fight. You know, could have gone either way in my opinion.
Which one?
But, Jacobs versus Triple G. That was, you know, we could have gone to Jacobs.
But I mean,
Triple G.
Canelo's not Triple G.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking about Canelo being an A fighter, I know we talked about this before, and then that was one of the topics that came up last night. You know, we had the great Julio Cesar Chavez there in attendance. Do you believe he's already the greatest Mexican fighter of all time?
Oh, Canelo?
Yeah.
Oh, we can get into that maybe Thursday. I'll let you guys get your arguments ready because I think it's getting close right now. I think it's getting close. He's already accomplished more than any Mexican champion in the history of Mexican boxing. I don't think people are ready for that conversation, though. I don't think they're ready for it. But like I said, I'll let you guys get your arguments ready. I think at this point, I mean, we haven't seen a fighter dominate this way for a while. I mean, obviously, I'm not just saying this based off last night's fight, you know, because Yildirim didn't belong in that ring with Canelo, but just the way that he beats opponents. I mean, I think Canelo's just in the wrong era, man. I don't think these guys are on his level. And we can get to that topic, I think Thursday, Chris. We can make it more of a longer conversation. We're going to keep it short today. But I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah.
Where do you think he ranks as of now? I mean, he's only 30 years old. By 30, he's already accomplished way more than 99% of Mexican boxers in history. You know, by 30 years old, Juan Manuel Marquez wasn't even Juan Manuel Marquez yet. You know, so definitely at 30, if you want to judge anybody 30 years or before that, he's definitely the best Mexican champion in the history. But I think we could get into that Thursday. But what do you think? Short answer.
Yeah. I think he already is. And we'll talk about it in deep conversation on Thursday. I think he already is. And, you know, Ryan Garcia echoed some of this. It's like, it's not even just Mexican. It's like all categories, you know, regardless of a race. I think Canelo's up there with already a lot of the names you already mentioned. But we'll definitely get more into it on Thursday, Gio.
Yeah. Charlo Benavides, Bivol, and Beterbiev would beat all of Canelo's opponents. Strongly disagree. Canelo beat the best at 154. Whether you want to say Lara or Cotto. Obviously, that Cotto fight was technically super middleweight. Middleweight, but, you know, you can say Cotto was the best at 154. He beat the best at 160, beat the best at 168. I mean, we haven't seen that from many fighters ever. I mean, who? Manny Pacquiao did that, going up in weights and fighting the best and beating the best. But yeah, I think if you look at the type of fighters he's been fighting and just what he's able to do, basically in 3 weight classes, we haven't seen that. We don't see that often in the history of boxing.
Yeah, no, Canelo's in a whole different league. He showed it, you know, this fight. You know, we said we were going to keep this reaction shorter, but I mean, it's not going to be shorter than Canelo's fight. But now Canelo's in a whole different ballgame. He's a different league. He's got so many facets to his game. It's very hard to see anybody be competitive. And I've said it before. I think the only thing that's gonna derail him is Father Time or somebody way bigger than him. You know, he said it like he's not gonna. You know, he kind of knows his body limits, his weight limits, and you know, I know I saw a name there, Beterbiev. I think that's one guy that's too big that could pose him, you know, some danger. But I mean, Canelo's not he's never been afraid to shy away from the biggest challenges. So I wouldn't be surprised if down the road he's like, you know what, I need a challenge. This is too easy. I need to challenge myself. But as of right now, those people in and around his division, he stands alone.
Yeah, and Comics Vet says Canelo's doing to middleweight what Roy Jones Jr. did, boxing, defense, and power from 160 to 175. He's unstoppable. Yeah, and you would think the only guy who would pose some type of challenge, obviously Benavidez, but Beterbiev is a name that most people are throwing around, right? He is 36 years old. He's never really fought a guy of Canelo's level, but he is a lot bigger, so that may be a good challenge. But yeah, man, I mean, you hear the excitement in our voices. We're trying to find anybody who can challenge Canelo. Obviously, in my opinion, Billy Joe Saunders is not the guy. Caleb Plant is not the guy. They just, like you said, they haven't had these type of fights before. Their resume speaks for itself. So I don't think they're ready for a Canelo fight. But they do have belts. They both want vacant belts. So you'd think Canelo would just take them. But just on the Billy Joe Saunders topic, shout out to Sean. Check out my shirt. Just Boxing Foundation. But yeah, just on the Billy Joe Saunders topic, like, who knows who his last opponent was? If you know in the chat, write it down. Who knows who he beat for that vacant title? If you know in the chat, write it down. That should tell you everything that you need to know about the Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo fight. But, the British media will hype it up and make it a marketable fight, and Eddie Hearn's going to do his part as well. But if you know, you know. But just to summarize this fight, I mean, Canelo looked good. I mean, we expected this. Like I said, I expected Yildirim to last a little longer. I thought he was going to be tougher than that, and he was tough. I believe that if they would have let him continue, he could have gone a couple more rounds, but I think it was the right call ultimately. You don't want to see him get hurt. Everything he threw, Canelo countered, and yeah, he just had no chance in there.
Yeah, no, it was just another boxing lesson, outclassed, outgunned. He went down, of a perfect, right by Canelo, and we just saw that the breakdown was gonna come. Just not enough to keep Canelo off. We knew that he had to take chances, and he was gonna open up and probably get hurt. Joe Diaz thought about sending him back one more. I was like, oh, a part of me wanted. Obviously, you want to see more rounds, but then you're like, no, it's that there's no resistance. There's not enough for him to fend off Canelo. Good call by Joe Diaz on that aspect. Protecting his fighter. So shout out to him.
Yeah, let me read some of the comments here. Jesus says Ray Martinez is the best Mexican boxer, action-packed today. Bro, he didn't even fight. Yeah, that was a big mismatch. The McWilliams Arroyo with the last-minute replacement there. It would have been very interesting to see him fight against Martinez, man. I was looking forward to that fight. Didn't happen, but yeah, some people are saying Cruiser's too much for Canelo. Yeah, those are big boys right there, man. I put money on Canelo versus Wilder, says Derek. Man, what happened? Wilder was your boy, man. Was it the twerking video, Derek? I need to focus my camera here, but yeah, some more comments. Let me switch the thing up here. Better be hard hitting Gostek. Yeah, Gostek was definitely a good fighter. Not a guy on Canelo's level. Obviously, he's much bigger, but nobody ever considered him the even top 5 pound for pound. There's levels to this. Jesus. I think he can successfully go to light heavy and dominate. Maybe Cruiser is pushing it, says Comics Vet. Shout to Sean and the Just Boxing Foundation. Billy Joe beats way past their prime decent fighters. Now, I'll give him credit for beating Lemieux. Obviously, Lemieux, not the best boxer out there, but let me focus this camera, man. What is going on here? Not the best boxer, but he was dangerous at that time. But other than that, I mean, just watch Billy Joe Saunders, let's say 3 last fights. I mean, they're going to be hard to watch. You're probably going to take a nap. But just watch how he gets hurt. Just watch how he gets hurt against these guys we've never heard of. And ask yourself, if Canelo hit him the same way, would he be up on his feet? I mean, in the I'll just give you guys a little bit of background info on how he won his belt at 168. It was a vacant belt, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He won essentially every round, but almost got knocked out in that fight. Billy Joe Saunders almost got
Yeah.
knocked out against a much lesser opponent. He won every round, but got caught and survived basically the whole round, hugging and running. But that's the type of
Yeah.
fighter Billy Joe is, man. Don't get too hyped
Mm-hmm.
for it. Don't expect too
Yeah.
much from that fight.
Yeah. No, eventually, I mean, Billy Joe's gonna try to outbox him. We know that style. He's gonna try to be slick and move, use those legs. But that's the style that probably gives Canelo the most trouble out of anything. But Canelo's on a different level again. We keep repeating that. He'll figure it out. He'll catch Billy. I know the selling point that Eddie Hearn is saying is like, Billy Joe has lackluster performances against people that he's not motivated with, but against high level guys, he's gonna bring the best. I do believe he will prepare really well for this fight. It's the fight of his life. He's gonna have to have like an A plus performance just to be competitive. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see a week out if he doesn't get in trouble outside. He doesn't do anything controversial to lose this opportunity. But yeah, I don't think anybody in and around competes with Canelo. So
Shout
that's
out to our
that.
British mates, man. Sounds like we're
Yeah.
grilling Billy Joe, but we're just trying to be honest here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the overall show was okay. I think the entrance was a little different. I didn't expect it. I'm not mad at it. They were in Miami, and Canelo had made some comments that he wasn't fighting only for the Mexican crowd, but for the Latino crowd. So he brought out J Balvin and tried to turn it up. I'm sure it was Eddie Hearn's idea. Eddie Hearn's really trying to reel Canelo in, right? Possibly
Yeah.
trying to get a long-term deal with him. Obviously, he
Yeah.
already beat Callum Smith. He's most likely going to beat Billy Joe Saunders. I feel pretty confident in saying that. And I'm pretty sure he wants Canelo to be the man, the face of matchroom boxing, right? Obviously alongside Anthony Joshua. But I think the overall show was good. Miami, there was fans there, 15,000 people in attendance. Overall, good show, but we all came for the knockout. Canelo got it probably quicker than I expected for sure. But that's all I got on that, man.
Yeah. No, again, it was a quick night. We joked that the interviews lasted longer, that the ring walk, that the everything else lasted longer. So we felt a little bit like, man, wanted to see a little bit more, but it's all good. It just shows it's just testament to the skill and the hard work that Canelo puts in, to get guys out of that guys that have been fighting all their lives, and for him to do that just shows what level he's on, and everything. I'm gonna say this: all roads lead to Canelo, and we'll see what happens in May. Can't wait to see him back. Love seeing him, stay busy, stay active. December, now in February, now in May. So it's good to see Canelo, just ready to fight. So can't wait for May.
Yeah. So Canelo improves to 55 wins, 55 1-2, 37 KOs. Yildirim 21-3 now. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there because people were upset at this fight. Yildirim was the mandatory before the Callum Smith fight. I said this last week as well. So the winner of Callum Smith, Canelo, was going to fight Yildirim no matter what, regardless. If Callum Smith would have won the title, he would have fought Yildirim. So there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of people who speak with their emotions, I suppose. But yeah, I think the only reason I'm going to say that Yildirim deserved to be the number one contender, ranked, whatever they call it, is because he arguably beat Durrell in that fight. It was a split decision, and he probably should have been champion at 168. There's clearly a gap level between him and Canelo, but I wasn't too mad at the fact that he was the mandatory, but mandatories to me don't always make sense. Most of the time they don't make sense, but I just want to throw that out there because I don't know. A lot of people were very upset at this fight, but hey, what can you do on it? What can you do about it? At the end of the day, it was a fight that Canelo had to get out of the way, basically, and move on to bigger and better things. I don't see Billy Joe Saunders posing too much of a threat. But that should be good. Hopefully it happens, man. Hopefully it happens, and it'll be interesting to see where it happens. They didn't say, right, Chris?
No, they didn't specify. I guess it's going to be coming days. They'll etch that out. Yeah. If anything, it's always good having British fans. I mean, I think that's going to be exciting to seeing those guys get excited, pump up their guy. You know, it's always going to be an electric atmosphere when the British fans get behind. Man, they really pull
Let's
out
go,
for
mate.
for their fights, for their fighters. So man, that alone is a win. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out to H Money checking in. Salute. Canelo's in his prime. Now we are starting to see the best of him. Yeah, and like I stated, unfortunately, he already beat his best opponents. Like, he's not going to beat a better opponent than Triple G, than Cotto, than Lara. You know, he faced those guys pretty early in his career, age-wise. He's only 30 years old, right? 30. He's going to be 31. I'm not sure. But he already faced the best competition he's going to face. So, and I said this when he signed that DAZN contract. It was a long contract, and I stated back then, a couple years ago, that, you know, we were not going to see Canelo in very competitive fights simply because there are not many fighters out there who can pose a threat. The fight I want to see for Canelo is Benavidez, but at the moment, I don't think Benavidez is ready. I don't think his defense is good enough, but I think that's the fight that I want to see eventually after Canelo gets all the belts.
Yeah. Yep. And we actually did interview Benavidez when Canelo was making the ascent. You know, he did say, "Stay out of my division."
Yeah,
and,
but
two years later.
Yeah.
This
This was
so that's interesting.
That was a Sean Porter against Errol Spence, right? The when he fought Darrell to get his title back.
Yeah.
And things have changed a lot since, man. Things have changed a lot since because, you know, the narrative was that 168 was too big for Canelo at the time. You know, everyone was saying Callum Smith was too dangerous for Canelo. But, you know, a couple years after that interview, now Canelo seems to be the man at 168, man. And, you know, ultimately, I think it leads to a Benavidez showdown. Hopefully we get that. Yeah. Even at 175, because let's see if Benavidez can maintain that weight at 68. He's fighting soon, right? Next week?
Yeah. I mean, this is a young guy. His body's still gonna keep growing. You know, he's 23. You know, he's his body's still growing. He's a big boy. I feel like that fight would make sense at 175 down the road. You know, it's exciting to at least know that Benavidez wants that fight. I mean, he really, you know, wants that fight. And we just say this again. He just needs the competition to get into those levels of competitiveness. He's got, you know, some natural tools, the size, the speed. You know, he's got some natural tools, but he just has to get that experience, and that's what he's missing. You know, but yeah.
Yeah, and like Jesus saying, ask Espino, he says his defense is underrated. Benavidez. Yeah, his defense is good against D-level fighters, C-level fighters, but Canelo is not that. You know, there's different levels to this. You know, Billy Joe Saunders won a belt at 168, fighting a D-level fighter. You know, yeah, he's a champion, but yeah, I just don't see anybody really hurting Canelo right now. Even hurting him, like who can hurt Canelo besides the bigger guys who walk around at 220, 230, you know. Shit, yeah. I know the word on the street is he's ducking Usyk and Anthony Joshua, man. You know what boxing fans are.
Yeah. Honestly, this fight, I was like, I want to see somebody at least like land something. Like now it's like, no one's going to be Canelo. Can I at least see him get like rocked? Can I at least see him get like stunned a little? Something, you know, at least who can win at least 2-3 rounds? And that doesn't seem like too many can. You know, we joke about this. The last time that he got rocked, stunned, clearly on his feet was when he was 19, you know, when he was just a boy, you know, against Cotto's brother. Since then, he's taking shots. He's taking the best shots probably from Triple G, but that poker face, that chin made of iron, it's, you know, it makes you feel like, you know, it doesn't, you know. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see where his belief and how far he wants to move up in a weight. I feel like he eventually will get, you know, tired of not having challenges in that round, and he might go up. And he's gonna, you know, fighters get hungry for that challenge, and he might see it up there, you know, with the better beast. Yeah, and you know, with the spirit guys. But
Interesting comment here by by Comics It. And I've always wondered about this, but he says only way Canelo gets hurt is by hurting his fists against opponents' faces. Dude, Canelo be punching these dudes hard. Like, I'm surprised he
Yeah.
doesn't hurt his hands. Like, against Callum Smith, I mean, everything was landing, whether it was on the shoulder or the elbow or the face or the ribs. Everything seemed to land. Everything seemed to make impact. So I'm very surprised that he doesn't hurt his hands more often. It's pretty impressive, man.
He doesn't have brittle hands. Man, but yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Billy Joe, and that'll be an interesting fight. At least the hype will be there. The British fans will turn up. Billy Joe has a mouth. He'll talk shit. You know, that's one of those things that they ask Canelo after the fight. I think it'll be entertaining. I at least for the part I want to be entertained up until that fight, until it happens. And I know Billy Joe has that villain role to play, and he'll play it very well. So yeah,
Billy Joe's getting hurt, man.
Billy Joe's getting hurt.
Big Bro says Benavides can't even make 168. He doesn't belong in this convo right now. Yeah, we'll see if he can make weight, man. We'll see if he can make weight. He kind of made some comments about the pandemic affecting him and him not being able to have all the equipment or whatnot. Last time that he didn't make weight, but we'll see this time around if he can make weight. But I think we'll be on here for 5-10 more minutes. We're gonna keep it short, and we'll probably be back on Thursday to talk about the undercard a little more and to talk about the upcoming schedule. We could talk about Joseph Parker as well against Fa. Not the most exciting fight, but that fight happened. And Diego Pacheco, of course, we want to talk about that on the undercard. But yeah, man. What else do you want to add to this, Chris, while I read some of those comments?
Did anybody get the rounds right? I know Ryan got the round right.
Oh, for real? Round. He got third? Damn it.
Yeah. Ryan Garcia. I don't know if anybody else got that. I was hoping that fifth, sixth round, man. If Joe Diaz would have let him go a little bit more, I would have probably gotten it, but he stopped it right on time. I know you gave him more credit. You gave him, what, 7 rounds, Gio?
For Yildirim?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I saw him beat Darrell, so I'm like, he might be able to take some punishment. But no, right call by Joel Diaz.
Man. Nobody can last with Canelo, man. It's tough. It's tough. Different levels.
Now, Chris, you're a big Triple G fan. I know you have the poster somewhere in there. Do you still want to see that third fight? I think I talked you out of it so many times, but I think you still want to see it. Deep in your heart, you still have much love for Gennady Golovkin.
You know what? I feel like there's not a lot of interesting opponents out there for Canelo. I would like to see it. I don't think it goes a distance this time. I think Canelo's, he goes back and sees tape. He knows that he's bigger, stronger guy that fought Triple G that second time around. I think he goes to the body. I think eventually this time he stops him. Triple G did have a little comeback fight. He looked dominant, but it was against a C fighter. I do want to see it. I don't think it goes a distance. I think it makes it, Triple G will land some punches, but this time I think Canelo stops him. But I would like to see it, at least. There's not a lot of interesting opponents out there. I think that's one of the reasons, but that's my take. I know I feel like you don't want to see that fight. I feel like you know how it's going to end.
Yeah, I don't want to see Golovkin hurt. Look, I got the towel right here, the Golovkin towel. I think I got this at the Vanes fight when he fought Vanes here at the Dignity Hill. And then the poster, I think you guys actually gave me that poster, the Canelo Triple G poster. And I do like Triple G, but I don't know. I just don't see Derek sees it. Well, actually, Canelo is on there. He's just being covered by the belt.
See, Alexa's saying that Triple G ain't getting stopped. Do you think he's getting stopped, Gio?
Triple G?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dude has a chin. Like, I feel like you could hit him with a tree branch and he'll be okay. Like, I feel like you could run him over with a Tesla truck and he'll be okay. Like, Triple G has a chin, so... Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Canelo hurts him, but I don't know if he can stop him, man, unless they throw the towel or something. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I could grab this mic and hit Golovkin 10 times in the head, and he'll ask me if I'm okay.
Yeah.
But just some comments here. Arthur B. I kind of said this comment earlier, but he kind of saying the same thing. So of course I'm agree with him. Canelo is hitting his prime in an era that has very few future Hall of Famers. Yeah, I think he fought his best fights in his mid-20s, early 20s. As far as opponents, now that he's getting better and better, I just don't think the competition is there, man. It would have been very interesting to see if Canelo was 30 years old 10 years ago, how he would do against a Floyd, against Cotto. He probably demolishes Cotto. Even against
Mm.
Golovkin, even against Lara, Trout, those guys that he beat, but they um, struggled a little bit, I guess. He just wasn't the boxer that he is now. But Canelo Triple G3, no, I don't want to see it. It would be good for Golovkin, to get that big last paycheck. But I mean, Derevchenko hurt him. I think my brother said this on the chat. Derevchenko hurt him to the body. It looked like Derevchenko was gonna stop him. So yeah, it wouldn't be a good idea to face Canelo. I know the casual fans wants to see that fight and they're asking for it. I know the zone wants to see it because they want to make their money, but personally, as a guy who likes both fighters, I wouldn't like to see it again, especially because it gets redundant, man. We saw Pacquiao Marquez 4 times. We saw Pacquiao Timothy Bradley 3 times. I think at some point you just don't deserve a rematch, and I don't think Golovkin deserves a rematch, especially because he hasn't done much since losing to Canelo. He struggle against Derevchenko, and then he fought a guy I don't even know his name. Took him like 7-8 rounds to beat him. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I like to see Canelo Benavidez maybe. Of course, take the belts. I like to see him knock out Bubo Andre. I think that's an easier fight than even Billy Joe. But
Mhm.
we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah. See, the thing for me, like the Benavides, Plants, these are guys that, I mean, they've been fighting for a minute, but they barely come into the consciousness of of the boxing fans like 3, 4, 5 years ago. Boo has been here for like 9 years, like, and he hasn't fought
The
like
Boo Boo?
very,
Isn't he like
yeah, Boo Boo,
34 already? How old is the man?
something like early 30s, mid 30s, but like he should have already fought names, you know, and that's the criticism that he gets. He has a very awkward style. He could be a problem for many fighters, but he just hasn't been in there with names. You know, the Benavides, you're like, you know what? He's young. He's gonna fight these guys eventually. But Bubo, he's been in there for a minute, man. Like, yo, come on, man. Like, what is he doing? You know. So yeah, these guys need to mix it up and let the winner face Canelo, the one that's most deserving.
Yeah.
But just fighting each other, you guys get that experience. You at least knock out some of the criticism. I don't got that. You don't have the names, you don't have the experience. Fight it out and let the winner get Canelo.
All right. So let's read some comments here. Of course, Big Bro says, stop it, Chris. G ain't getting stopped. GOU. Yeah, the poster. Yeah. Let's see. Canelo will finish off GGG the way Marquez finished off Pacquiao. Damn. That would be crazy, man. Let's see. Joel Diaz says, Beck the Bully is ready for Canelo, says Jesus. Man, Joel Diaz said Yildirim was ready for Canelo. Let's see. My brother kind of said the same thing. GGG versus Andre to unify. That would be a good fight, man. I think even an older Golovkin still beats all those guys. Well, his defensive skill and preservation keep him fighting late into his 40s, says Arthur. Good question, man. I don't think so. I think Canelo said he's going to fight for 5-6 more years. And honestly, I think he's going to get bored, man. I think it's hard to keep getting motivated when he is going to have to take a lot of easier fights, especially mandatories. I don't see him fighting until his 40s. I think he's making enough money to just retire at 35, 36 and live happily ever after. And I'm pretty sure he's going to take a page out of Floyd's book as far as retiring when you want to and not letting the sport retire you. I think Canelo and his team are smart enough. I think they'll advise him to retire once he accomplished everything that he needed to accomplish, and once he's almost a billionaire. I'm pretty sure they're gonna tell him, there's no more reason to keep fighting. But
Yeah.
as of now, hey, he's putting on shows for us, whether it's good opponents, bad opponents. But I mean, he hasn't really been hit, man, other than the Triple G fight, right? He hasn't been in wars like that. I mean, when he was
Yeah.
younger, he used to brawl more, but it's been a while since he's been even hit, man. Which is crazy to even mention. I was talking to one of the coaches last time, Coach Zoe, at the
Mhm.
Long Beach Jackrabbit Boxing, and we were just talking about that, how it's crazy how he doesn't get hit, man. Like, you don't see that. You don't even see that in sparring when a really good fighter is fighting a guy who's just starting. Like, people always get hit, and Canelo just doesn't get touched much. It's pretty amazing, man. We sound like we're dick
Yeah.
riding, huh? But no, I'm just being honest. It's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
man. I was in like I was in like a Canelo fan, but in the last couple years, like, it's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah. That's something that I was thinking about with that Yildirim fight. I was like, man, he barely got grazed, man. He could fight
Even
somebody. If
body
they bring somebody
shots.
up.
Even body
Yeah.
shots, he would just take a step back and make a miss.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, if they bring somebody out of the locker room, he could beat somebody up and get a second payday. Like, he didn't get touched. He wasn't barely
Yo.
wet.
Did you see
Man.
that the video I saw them like on Twitter when Canelo kicked those dudes off stage? You
The
didn't see it?
YouTubers?
I
I
think
heard
they were
about it. I didn't.
YouTube. I think they were YouTubers. I don't know if they had like a Logan Paul shirt. I don't know what they were wearing, but there were some dudes behind him,
Mhm.
and Canelo straight up told him, "Get the fuck out of here, man!" During the interview, I'm gonna pull it up right now. All right, I'm gonna pull it up right
Damn.
now. So talk,
Okay.
Chris, talk. Entertain the
Yeah.
people.
So
I'll pull it up. I'll try to
yeah.
look for it on Twitter.
All right. Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. I wasn't sure what I was hearing, but yeah, something about some YouTubers were doing something up there, and I don't know. So fill me in right now when you hear it. But yeah, as for Canelo, that's something I'm very impressed with. He will be able to retire like from the sport, without being hurt, without with all his faculties. That's something that we talk about, how dangerous it is to get in the sport, and how important it is for fighters to be very defensively sound. I know that people fall in love with the come forward, aggressive, side of boxing, but I mean, if you really want to last long, you have to learn, those defensive skills, those things that you have to put in time and time, in the ring to master. And Canelo is one of the best at defense. And so, yeah, that's very important. I think he will retire with all his faculty just based on that. And he said something in an interview where when he sees Ryan Garcia coming, I don't know if people have seen that interview, but like he kind of muttered under his breath, like, man, my time's almost, like, he kind of mentioned how Ryan's got the youth on his side, his career's barely starting. And
All right, Chris, I'm gonna cut you off. Hold up.
right.
I'm gonna cut you off. Let me pull this up.
Right.
Let me see. Because actually, the professor Joshua Franco reposted this. I think that's how I
Okay.
saw it on Twitter. He was laughing. Hold on. Let me shoot. All right. Give me a second, fellas. Give me a
Yeah,
second.
let's see it.
All right. So let me put the volume up on this because this was pretty funny.
Comfortable. It's something. I think it's one of my best moments in my.
You guys hear it?
One of my best moments.
All right. Here it goes. Canelo
Do you
kicking
feel
these bumps
Canelo
off stage.
like you're
Here, it's
peaking?
gonna replay again.
It's something that makes me feel strong. I feel strong. I feel fast. I feel comfortable.
Check out the guys in the background.
It's something. I think it's one of my best moments in my. One of my best moments.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious.
Do you feel
I'll play
Canelo
one more time.
like
One more
you're
time.
peaking?
It's something that makes me feel strong. I feel strong. I feel fast. I feel comfortable. It's something. I think it's one of my best moments in my. One of my best moments.
Do you
and,
feel
and
Canelo
they actually left, dude. That's the fucking funny part. That was fucking
Who the fuck are
funny.
those
Dude.
guys?
Huh?
They're just YouTubers that like jump the
Yeah.
security and shit.
I'm guessing they like snuck in. I'm guessing they snuck in and they were right behind Canelo during the interview, and Canelo noticed them because they were like showing off their shirt. I don't know if it was one of the ball shirts. I don't know, but Canelo just say, "Hey man, get the fuck out of here." Canelo speaks English, by the way. I think I've said this before. I think he
Yeah.
speaks good English. He just refuses to
Yeah.
because the media can be annoying. Like I would do that too, because
Yeah.
he understands it pretty well, as you guys see during the post fight interviews. They ask him in English and he just replies in Spanish. But That was perfect English right there. He said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Man, I would do the same thing too, man. I would write their names and be like, don't invite these guys back.
He said
I don't
it
need their
twice
money.
too. Comics say he's like, "Get the fuck out of here." And then one of the guys nodded his head, started walking, and then he still told him again, "Get the fuck out of here." That was
funny,
pretty fucking hilarious, man. But let's go to let's go to some comments here.
I was gonna say he's getting W's after the belt too. Damn.
It was funny how they just walked away too, like no resistance. That was funny. But he made 8 figures this fight, man. He could retire anytime he wants, says Derek. Yeah. Someone said Charlo's the only hope. Why Charlo? I don't know. I think Charlo needs to fight better competition as well. He can retire and have his own promotion, media company, expand into American pop culture, basically try to outdo De La Hoya. Damn, do you think he can outdo De La Hoya as far as that? Because, you know, De La Hoya is he's very loved in the Hispanic community, mostly here in the United States. I think he's part owner of the Houston Dynamo. Obviously, he has Golden Boy Promotions. He's promoting some of the biggest up-and-coming names in boxing. He has Virgil Ortiz. He has Ryan Garcia. He had the face of boxing basically throughout his whole career. I mean, he's doing pretty good for himself, De La Hoya. You think Canelo can outdo De La Hoya post-fighting career? You think he could become a successful promoter, businessman, pop star, pop culture person, whatever, celebrity, whatever you want to call it?
I don't know,
ring
man.
too. Gonzalo, thank you for that. The ring too.
Yeah.
For De La Hoya.
I don't know about that because, you know, De La Hoya, even though he had his controversies outside the ring, he was very liked by the English media.
Orange Boy Promotions.
I mean, Canelo, he's a very serious guy, very quiet. He doesn't really speak much. I don't think, even though he's a great inside the ring, I don't think he has that charismatic.
Erik, you're a fool, dog.
So I don't know. De La Hoya had a lot of things going for him, you know. Winning, you know, that golden Olympics. He had, you know, the looks going for him. I don't know if Canelo can. I don't know if he wants to. I think he's more of a private guy. I think he just kind of want to play golf, and that's it. I think, but we'll see.
I'm fucking dying over here, man.
What did he say?
Orange Boy Promotions, dude. Why?
Damn, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Productions.
Red-headed Promotions. These are catchy, man.
Man, y'all cut the check, man. Y'all giving him some good promo.
What is going on, man? Arthur says, not a chance. De La Hoya was a pioneer. Yeah, man. Yeah, De La Hoya he kind of started this whole promotional thing.
Yeah.
He was the one who had success with it, at least. I like to tell the story always about how Top Rank came to be about. Initially, it was Muhammad Ali's promotional company, and then the whole thing happened. He boycotted the war. They basically took their license away, and that company was basically destroyed, you can say, by the government. So that never came to fruition. But yeah, that would have been interesting to see if Muhammad Ali, his company would have, you know, rose up. And I mean, Muhammad Ali was the biggest name probably in boxing ever, so I'm pretty sure that would have been successful. But De La Hoya was really the first one to start like promoting his fight successfully and create a successful company, man, that is still alive today and still giving us good shows. They haven't put on many shows this past year or so, but yeah, I agree that De La Hoya was definitely a pioneer, man. I'm still laughing at that damn comment.
Yeah. I think the thing that De La Hoya had is he had that Mexican American like vibe and crowd. You know, it's Canelo. I see him more about just a Mexicano, you know, and he's like, you know, I already come from comics, like he's well respected by every boxer, you know, that laces up them gloves. You saw Terrence Crawford, you saw Devin Haney, you know, Shakur Stevenson. They were all to support like the pound for pound king, but I don't think it carries over as a promoter. I think Canelo? It was more of a private life. A promoter life is very out in the media. cameras on you. Like, I think Canelo is gonna want more of that privacy. De La Hoya is more of a, entertaining, giving interviews,
Yeah.
promoting. Yeah, well, we'll see.
But look,
We'll
Comics
see.
Vet has a very interesting comment. He has the crossover appeal and with his ring style and is more respected than De La Hoya. Yeah, I think a lot of the extracurricular activities by De La Hoya and a lot of stories that we've heard,
Mhm.
some people don't respect the stuff that he does, like outside of the ring or outside of boxing. I think Canelo's more
Mhm.
respectable in that sense. He's more,
Yeah.
I guess, clean. You can say he's more of
Yeah.
the, he's more of the Steph Curry type of athlete. Where it's
Yeah.
clean, family man, doesn't have any controversies or whatnot, other than the Clenbuterol promotion. Somebody said.
Man.
But yeah, that's interesting. And Canelo's he just has that it factor, man. Just watching him when they put the cameras on him when he was walking into the arena, like he's just a star. He doesn't even have to say much. Like it's crazy. And then he
Yeah.
attracts people like J Balvin and who was in his there'd be a lot of celebrities that just pop up in his locker room like during the fights and stuff. And a lot of
Yeah, there was like
celebrities who like tweet about him and like Comics Vet made a comment earlier that Canelo was trending and yeah, it seems to every time he fights, it seems like he's trending, and a lot of people that you wouldn't even think watch boxing start mentioning Canelo and things like that. So he definitely has that appeal of a rock star type of person, and
Yeah.
it helps obviously with the internet, man. I think that's just huge
Yeah.
advantage. But yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
I was
good
gonna say
question. That was a good question.
I was gonna say he's more of a quiet rock star. He's just very, like I said, his personality is very serious, very disciplined, more of the quiet side. He doesn't have to talk much or say much. He lets his skills and his hands do all the talking. But he's very respected, very 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 respected, and that discipline. If he carries on as a promoter, it should take him far. I'll be surprised, man. I'm cracking up with all these comments, bro. These guys have to trademark all these comments.
Yeah.
Freckled boy promotions. That's funny.
Yeah,
But we'll see where it takes him.
Pardon us if we're skipping over some of the comments here, man. I was busy laughing over here by that fucking comment by Derek. You're a fool, dog. But yeah, let's. What was I gonna say? Max Palacio, shout out to him. Says, dude's got his own credit card line. Doesn't he always also have like a phone thing that he's doing now? I don't know if it's like a phone company or he has a partnership. I remember he was promoting that too. Canelo has a lot of endeavors. I mean, I'm pretty sure Hennessy paid him a lot of money. He was posting a lot of Hennessy stuff, and then there is a Hennessy promotional stuff all over the ring and all that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's paid, man.
You seen that Canelo has his own clothesline? His own clothesline. You see Eddie every time rocking the Canelo gear. I'm sure there's a bunch of paisitas out there that want to rock the Canelo gear. I was laughing with your brother about it. He's rocking that Canelo gear each and every time, man. It's pretty cool, man. I'm gonna look into that. Wear some Canelo sweats and shit.
Yeah, and Derek says, doesn't Canelo got his own phone? Yeah, that's I don't know if it's a phone company or an actual phone. I gotta look into that. But I remember they were making commercials for that. I think that's only in Mexico. Arthur says Oscar won his respect and fought so many killers while attracting the ladies. Yeah. And Comics Vet said that, let me see. Yeah, Comics Vet says De La Hoya never had the same appeal for Mexicans. It was mainly Mexican Americans. Yeah. Canelo has it more from everyone. And Canelo, I feel like he might be more of a worldwide star.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that statement is from my part, but it just seems that way. Like everybody knows Canelo, man. Paisitas, just with no respect, man.
Yeah. I think
they look at Canelo like he's a badass boxer and chicks love him too. Yeah, doesn't he have a lot of baby mamas? Like 2, 3?
Does he? Shit.
Yeah, I'm sure. I always see him with different women. But I mean, I'm not gonna comment on that. I don't know much about his love life, but yeah, that's what I thought at least.
Yeah, I think Canelo has that worldwide appeal because he is the number one in many people's lists. So when Avni Yildirim was got the chance to fight, they were already celebrating Avni just for getting that fight. He I'm sure Canelo's known
Somebody
him
said
in
Canelo
Turkey.
had no neck.
Someone said no neck.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, man. A smaller neck, you can take the punches better. But yeah, I think it's that consensus number one pound for pound that that he's known worldwide. I know that Hoya got close to the pound for pound status, but I don't think he stayed there as long. He was known. He was
and because a lot of people are saying that people did respect Oscar's resume, and I 100% agree with that. But they only respected Oscar because he lost some fights. If he would have won all those fights, more people would have hated him for it. Guaranteed.
More hate.
Guaranteed. Just because he lost, they're like, okay, I don't hate him as much anymore. Like if Canelo would have lost a couple more fights, if Canelo had 2 or 3 losses, I think more people would like him, which is crazy.
So
that's my take on that.
They like to see you succeed, but not that much.
A
few losses.
Yep.
Man.
They want to see you lose every once in a while.
Yeah.
Kind of like LeBron, he's lost 7 times in the finals, so he's like, all right, we don't hate you as much anymore.
Hey.
Oscar, B-Hop, and Manny have best resumes in the past 3 decades. Yeah, throw Canelo in there, man. Throw Canelo in there. Manny, I think, has the all-time greatest resume ever. Obviously, he had the advantage of being able to move through so many weight classes that he was able to fight a lot of the best at their best times too. He grew up. He was boxing in a very good era of Manny. I'll give him that, man. I mean, all the Mexicans, basically the best Mexicans of that era, he fought them.
Yeah, and beat them. And beat every single one of them.
Knocked them out.
Yeah.
Except Marquez. He didn't knock out Marquez, but
yeah.
Resume in terms of just names or quality of fighters. When they fought, I think both. Man.
Yeah.
I think both. But anyway, anything else you want to add on this? We're keeping it strictly on Canelo, the topic for today. Thursday, we'll discuss more things like I stated, and we'll discuss future fights. But today, it's all about Canelo, man. Sorry for all the people who dislike Canelo. I know you're punching the wall right now. You're punching the air like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Boys in the Hood. You're shadow boxing out there with the air. But, I mean, I think there's just no way to deny it now. Canelo is the face of boxing, and he's a #1 fighter in the world, man. And that's that.
Yeah.
Sorry, ESPN. Canelo's fans were in attendance, though. Canelo's fans were watching. I saw a few of them. Out there. I think this guy named Crawford. I saw a couple other guys out there, too. And I tweeted that Canelo's biggest fans, the 160-pound division and the 168-pound division, were probably glued to the TV, and I'm pretty sure they were all watching. They all love Canelo, low-key, I think.
Yeah.
They all admire him and love him, It just sucks that a lot of them don't want to really fight him for a reasonable price.
Yeah. Yeah, no, to me, it's clear as day. Canelo's the man. If they're gonna clone, if they're gonna clone somebody in the world, I nominate Canelo to be cloned just so we can throw that clone in the ring with them, so we can get a competitive fight. Because nobody in there hangs with this guy. He's just on something. He's on different league than all these guys. So we'll see what happens. We'll see, what's in store for Canelo, May and possibly September. He said that he doesn't want to fight 4 times a year. So yeah. So that's it for me, Gio.
Yeah, let me go to some last comments here. Still remember that Morales schooled his ass and went southpaw. Yeah, and that's why I said Morales is, to me, he was better. He was the best one of that era. To me, he was better than Barrera and better than Marquez. I would rank Morales 1 of that era, Barrera 2, and Marquez 3, simply because Pacquiao dominated the other 2, and Morales actually beat him. Actually beat Pacquiao. Yeah. He obviously lost after that, but Morales was the man. Let's see. And got knocked out, says Derek. let's see. Mexicans only like those who lose. They don't like Finito Lopez for a reason. Yeah, Finito doesn't get that respect. He was undefeated with only one draw, but he doesn't get the respect as much as a guy with a lot of losses like Marquez. A lot, relatively compared to some of the other top fighters, I would say. Canelo haters just dudes who took the cinnamon challenge and get triggered every time cinnamon is mentioned. Charlo, Stevenson, Crawford, all Canelo closet fans. They wish they were in his position. Just change his hair color if he gets cloned. Yeah, man, I think that's it. Send some last shout outs, Chris, while I try to skim through some of the other comments here if I missed anything.
Yeah, just shout out to our boy Alan Garcia, who fought over this weekend as well. Saturday, he got a second round TKO. So felicidades, compita, up and coming fighter, local fighter, doing his thing. I'm sure he saw the Canelo fight, and he's, these young fighters dream of being these positions. So he's gonna keep grinding, keep taking these challenges, and can't wait to see his next fight.
100%, and I think that's it, man. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, man. Show some love, subscribe, hit that like button, follow us at againstdaropes on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and most likely Thursday we'll be back. And yeah, big shout out to Alan Garcia, man, and big shout out to Coach G, Coach Andy Aguilar. They're doing a great job with that young man. 18 years old now, 3-0, 3 KOs. You guys could check out the fight. I posted the video they posted on Instagram. I posted on YouTube if you guys haven't checked that out, or you guys can go on Alan's Instagram as well at kid.kansas if you want to see the full fight. But yeah, that's that. Big shout out to the Just Boxing Foundation. Shout out to Sean for always hooking it up with some dope ass shirts. Big shout out to Puro Golpe. Check them out at www.purogolpe.com. Big shout out to our guys from Puro Golpe. And yeah, big shout out to all the other guys who won on the undercard. I think the undercard was pretty good, and like we said, we'll discuss it next time. All right, Chris?
Yeah, for sure.
What the hell was that? All right. Shout out to Roxy for live streaming it. Yeah, shout out to Right Hook Roxy who was streaming the fight. Morales would have dominated him like Timmy did. Talk about Marquez. Yeah, Marquez lost some fights he should have won, man. That's why I don't rate him so high. Morales would get beaten or tired off. Marquez is underrated. His only losses were controversial, or he was for Marquez. I think he lost his very first fight. I think he got DQ'd or something. Yeah, Juan Manuel Marquez. He lost his very first title challenge. He lost to Tim Bradley. He lost to Pacquiao so many times. Pacquiao got robbed the first fight. I still remember that. One of the judges scored like 10-7 instead of 10-6 that round, which would have given Pacquiao the win. People never mention that. Man, I'm gonna expose these people, man. I'm gonna expose these boxing fans.
I'm gonna write these names down. Write a letter.
Yeah, and then
to who it may concern.
Yeah.
Shit.
Mark is the biggest Canelo hater. Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah.
Respectfully, comics. Con mucho respeto.
Mucho respeto.
Shout out to I think Faitelson, of course, and Chavez Sr. were criticizing Canelo, huh? On their Twitters and stuff. Man, these Mexican people be hating their own so bad. It's crazy. It's so crazy, man.
I mean, they don't want to see them get ahead. They don't want to. They say their records are meant to be broken, but man, they really don't want their records to be broken. But
it's either that or they're just doing it for the views, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But anyway, I think that's that, and I'm gonna close this out with that same Canelo clip, man. With that Canelo clip telling the people to get the fuck out of here. But that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for keeping that chat lit. Shout out to Big Bro. Shout out to Comics Vet. Mike Alvarado. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Do y'all think it's because Canelo's light skinned and redheaded? Yes, I think that's part of it. And let's get into these topics on Thursday, Chris. I think we've discussed it before, but we can touch on it again. Why Mexicans hate Canelo? Why Canelo is already better than Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. No, I'm kidding. Now we'll debate these things. We'll debate them, but I think it has to do a lot about that. He's not your typical Mexican fighter. Like, people love Berchelt. People love a fighter like Berchelt. Even if he got knocked out, people still love him. But we'll get into that. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but yeah, we'll get into it. That definitely has a lot to do with it. I think Oscar De La Hoya, I think, has a lot to do with it as well. And people, I've said this so many times, people who hate Canelo were low-key Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fans. When they were both coming out, you guys remember that? Everybody was rocking with Chavez Jr. because of Chavez, and they were like, fuck Oscar and his fighter. And obviously, we saw what happened with Junior's career, and now those people are now just Canelo haters, not necessarily Chavez Jr. fans anymore. But hey, I saw Chavez Jr. tweeting about Canelo. He said 175. He said he will fight for free. My God, Chavez Jr., man. I don't even think he can make 175. But yeah, I think that's it, Chris.
That's it. Nah, to me, just like to thank everybody for showing up and dropping some funny comments. It's always fun. We feed off of that energy. So, thank you guys for that. Enjoy your Sunday. Have a great day today. See you guys Thursday for more.
Yeah, and let me pull up this hilarious clip. Canelo was about to go 2-0 that night, man.
It's something that makes me feel strong. I feel fast. I feel comfortable. It's something, I think it's one of my best moments in my life. One of my best moments.
Okay. Do you feel, Canelo, like you're peaking?
It's something that makes me feel strong. I feel fast. I feel comfortable. It's something, I think it's one of my best moments in my life. One of my best moments.
Okay. Do you feel, Canelo, like you're peaking?
It's something that makes me feel strong. I feel fast. I feel comfortable. It's something, I think it's one of my best moments in my life.
I can't stop watching.
This is funny.
Do you feel, Canelo, like you're peaking?
Let's go, mate.
Let's go, mate.
It's something that makes me feel strong. I feel fast. I feel comfortable. It's something, I think it's one of my best moments.
I'm making that into a soundbite.
Do you feel?
Michael, you already know I said I'm a fun guy.
Hola amigos, soy Juan AtR. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.